Well, what a way to open up postseason for the Milwaukee Brewers, winning 9-3 over rival Chicago in the NLDS. I'm Dominique Yates. I'm joined by JR Radcliffe. JR, before we talk about the game, first off, thoughts on this crowd in the atmosphere, really from the beginning of the national anthem until the end. The Brewers fans were really into it.
You know, I came upstairs from the service level of the stadium and immediately started looking for Cubs fans because it was my first time seeing fans in here. And they just weren't there. Like, it was just Brewers fans, not what I expected. I thought it would be 50-50. I thought probably maybe more like 60-40 just because Brewers fans, it's a bigger moment. They've had a chance to buy tickets longer than Cubs fans had. I just thought that would be leaning toward the Brewers. This was completely pro-Brewers, extremely loud. The boos for Craig Counsell through the roof. I was actually in the parking lot and could hear them a long way away from the stadium at that moment. So they were very, very animated, very into it. The players themselves said it. Pat Murphy said it felt like a home game. And it did. This was a Brewers crowd. Now, we'll see if they sustain that. We'll see if Game 2 is different. A little more time for Cubs fans to circle the wagons. But this was absolutely a Brewers crowd, much more so than I was expecting.
Now, as far as just that start, you couldn't ask for a better start if you were the Brewers, besides, as you say, the top of the first after the Michael Busch home run for the Cubs. But other than that, it was all Brewers. Just what were your thoughts on just how the offense took advantage of a really good Cubs defense?
Well, if you want to build a narrative that the rest served this team well, you could do it on a couple fronts here. First of all, they doubled on 3 straight pitches. They came out of the gate. They scored 6 runs in the first, 3 in the second. Clearly, you can say the break healed what ailed them. If they were looking like they were struggling a little bit down the stretch in September, and they kind of were offensively, they looked great today, great on Saturday. I think also, the decision the Cubs made to pitch Matthew Boyd was pretty interesting. He was on short rest, on one less day rest. He pitched in the wild card series on Tuesday through 58 pitches. I think there was a little bit of a surprise. I thought we might see former Brewers pitcher Colin Ray take the mound, but they went with Boyd, a guy, he's one of their guys, so that makes sense. Didn't make it out of the first inning, just didn't have it today. And certainly you can say, well, was it a good idea to start him on short rest? The Brewers will take it. You could maybe quibble that the Brewers then kind of went quiet after Matt Boyd was out of the game and their first reliever after him, Michael Soroka. But that fast start was all it took. You score 9 runs in 2 innings, you're gonna win the baseball game. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Now moving forward, I guess, what are you keeping an eye out on with this Brewers team? I know there's some injuries, maybe some other things. What are you kind of watching out for?
Yeah, Jackson Chourio gets 3 hits in his first 2 innings. No player's ever done that before in a postseason game. And then he leaves with a hamstring strain, or I don't know if it's a strain is the terminology that, Jackson Chourio himself says he's fine. The manager says it's very, very concerning. I would usually err on what the team is saying there, which is that it is concerning. And this is the same hamstring that cost him, between 3 and 4 weeks earlier this season, the right hamstring. That's a huge concern. If you don't have him, you're missing. Again, he had 3 hits in the first 2 innings. He is a catalyst for this team and was in the playoffs last year. He was essential to them. Hit those 2 huge home runs in Game 2. To lose him would really put a dent. They can overcome one player's loss, but that's a really big one. So we got to see what happens with him, and I think everything else is kind of secondary to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something to monitor. They'll get a day off, and then you'll be right back at it with the Cubs. You can imagine Chicago's going to be fired up and ready to play after this performance for the Brewers, winning 9-3, opening up Game 1 of the NLDS. Coming to you from American Family Field for JR Radcliffe, I'm Dominique Yates.